Now, this video provides an overview of the most popular input and output devices for personal computers. We will tackle some basic input devices, display devices, printers, and how you install peripheral devices. Most computer systems include a keyboard and printing device such as mouse for basic data input. The touch-sensitive screens offers an additional input option. And other input devices such as scanners, digital cameras, and graphics tablets are handy for working with graphical input. Microphones and electronic instruments provide input capabilities for sound and music. Now, a pointing device, just like this optical mouse, uses an onboard chip to track light beam as it bounces off a surface such as desk, clipboard, or mousepad. It allows you to manipulate an on-screen pointer and other screen-based graphical controls. And the most popular external pointing devices for personal computers include the mice and the game controllers. And external pointing devices such as the mouse, like you can see in this picture, can be connected to the computer with a cable or with a wireless connection. Game controllers come in many styles such as joysticks, steering wheels, and wands. Game controllers also serve as adaptive devices for people with physical disabilities who cannot use a keyboard or mouse. And this trackpad or touchpad is a touch-sensitive surface on which you can slide your fingers to move the on-screen pointer. And trackpads also include buttons that serve the same function as mouse buttons. Trackpads are located just beneath the keyboard of most laptop computers so that it is not necessary to carry a mouse as an extra component. And the act of moving your fingers on the surface of a trackpad is called a gesture. On a standard trackpad, sliding a single finger moves the pointer. With a multi-touch trackpad, additional gestures are possible, like zoom in, to move two fingers apart to zoom in and enlarge photos or documents. To zoom out, to move two fingers closer to each other to reduce the size of images or documents. The horizontal scrolling, move the fingers to the right or left. And the vertical scrolling, move two fingers up or bottom. Or rotate, like turn two fingers on a trackpad to rotate an image. And it allows you to tap, like tapping the trackpad performs the same function as clicking a mouse button. And two finger tap, tapping the trackpad with two fingers generates a right click. And swiping, like moving three fingers horizontally to step through a series of photos, album covers, or windows. Now, the tablet computers, handheld devices, retail stores, self-checkouts, and information kiosks collect input from touchscreen. This will overlays a display screen. The most commonly used touchscreen technology is a transparent panel coated with thin layer of electrically conductive material that senses a change in the electrical current while touched. So this resistive technology is fairly durable. It is not susceptible to dust, water, but it can be damaged by sharp objects. Now, what are the options for display devices? A computer display device that simply displays text and images is classified as an output device. Touch sensitive screens, however, can be classified as both input and output devices because they accept input and display output. But standalone display devices, sometimes called monitors, are popular for desktop computers. Display devices for laptops, tablets, and handheld devices are built into the system units. And two technologies are commonly used for computer display devices are LED and LCD. LCD, or the liquid crystal display technology, produces an image by filtering light through a layer of liquid crystal cells. The advantages of LCD screens include display clarity, low radiation emission, portability, and compactness. LCD screen, the source of this light is a series of cold cathode fluorescent lamps, or the CCFLS, which are not environmentally friendly. And the CCFL, or the cold cathode fluorescent lamps for LCD, are being replaced by LED, or the light emitting diode technology. And we have here the plasma screen technology, which illuminates lights arranged in a panel-like screen. Image quality is a factor of screen size, dot pitch, width of viewing angle, response rate, resolution, and color depth. Screen size is the measurement in inches from one corner of the screen diagonally across to the opposite corner. And it ranges from 3 inches on smartphones to 60 inches or more for home entertainment systems. Dot pitch is a measure of image clarity. The smaller dot pitch means a crisper image. Technically, dot pitch is the distance in millimeters between colored pixels, the small dots of light from that form an image. Between 0.26 and 0.23 is typical for today's display devices. The viewing angle width, a display device viewing angle width indicates how far to the side you can still clearly see the screen image. With a wide viewing angle of 170 degrees or more, you can view the screen from various positions without compromising image quality. The response rate is the time it takes for one pixel to change from black to white, then back to black. Display devices with fast response rates display a crisp image with minimal blurring or ghosting of moving objects. Response rate is measured in milliseconds. For gaming systems, a response rate of 5 milliseconds or less is desirable. Now, the number of colors a monitor can display is referred to as the color depth, or the bit depth. Most PC display devices have the capability to display millions of colors. When set of 24-bit color depth, sometimes called the true color, your PC can display more than 16 colors and produce what are considered photographic quality images. The number of horizontal and vertical pixels that a display devices on the screen is referred to as a screen resolution. Standard resolutions are optimized for a 4:3 aspect ratio, in which the width is slightly larger than the height. Widescreen displays with 16 to 9 aspect ratios carry a W designation. Common screen resolutions are listed here. The HD TV or the high definition TV broadcast systems use resolutions of 1280 by 720 or 1920 by 1080. For HD TV compatibility and viewing movies, your computer display should be compatible with one of these formats. At higher resolutions, text and other objects appear smaller, but the computer can display a larger work area, such as an entire page of document. At lower resolutions, text appears larger, but the work area is smaller. Enlarged text sometimes looks blurry because a letter that required one row of dots might now require additional dots to fill it in. Most displays have a recommended resolution at which images are clearest and text is crispest. And we have here the two screens in this figure help us compare a display set at 1280 by 800 resolution with a display set of 800 by 600 resolution. The screen on the left shows 1280 by 800 resolution. And try to notice that the size of text and other screen-based objects. The screen on the right shows 800 by 600 resolution. Text and other objects appear larger on the low resolution screen, but you see a smaller portion of the desktop screen. In addition to a display device, such as monitor, a computer display system also requires graphics circuitry that generates the signals for displaying an image on the screen. One type of graphics circuitry referred to as the integrated graphics and is built into a computer system board. The second option is dedicated graphics. And this dedicated graphics is a graphics circuitry mounted on a small circuit board called the graphics card or video card, like this one. So a graphics card contains a graphics processing unit and special video memory, which stores screen images as they are processed but before they are displayed. Lots of video memory is the key to lightning fast screen updating for fast action games, 3D modeling, and graphics intensive desktop publishing. In addition to video memory, most graphics cards contain special graphics accelerator technology to further boost performance. Now we have here the printers. Printers are one of the most popular output device available for personal computers. And today's best-selling printers use the inkjet or the laser technology in multifunction devices that can also serve as scanners, copiers, and fax machines. The inkjet printer has a nozzle-like print head that sprays ink onto paper to form characters and graphics. And the printer head or the print head in a colored inkjet printer consists of a series of nozzles, each with its own cartridge. And most inkjet printers use the CMYK color, which requires only cyan, blue, magenta pink, yellow, and black ink to create a printout that appears to have thousands of colors. The laser printer uses the same technology as photocopier to paint dots of light on a light-sensitive drum. electrostatically charged ink is applied to the drum and then transferred to paper. This laser printer prints faster than inkjet printer, but laser technology is more complex than inkjet technology, which accounts for the higher price of laser printers. Now, when PC first appeared in the late 1970s, dot matrix printers were the technology of choice, and they are still available today. Dot matrix printer produces characters and graphics by using a grid of fine wires. As the printhead noisily clatters across the paper, the wires strike a ribbon and paper in a pattern prescribed by your PC. So we have here a printhead in a dot matrix printer contains a matrix of thin wires, okay, to print characters from a pattern of dots created as the wires strikes an inked ribbon. Unlike laser and inkjet technologies, a dot matrix printer actually strikes the paper and therefore can print multi-part carbon forms. Now, printers differ in resolution, print speed, duty cycle, operating costs, duplex capability, memory, and network capability. The resolution refers to the quality or sharpness of printed images and text depends on the printer's resolution. The print speed are measured either by pages per minute or characters per second. The in addition to print speed, a printer's duty cycle determines how many pages a printer is able to turn out. And printer duty cycle is usually measured in pages per month. For example, a personal laser printer has a duty cycle of about 3,000 pages per month. That means 100 pages per day. You wouldn't want to use it to produce 5,000 campaign brochures for next Monday, but you would find it quite suitable for printing 10 copies of a 5-page outline for a meeting tomorrow. And the operating cost, of course. The initial cost of a printer is only one of the expenses associated with printed output. Inkjet printers is one of the expenses associated with printed output. Okay, and this inkjet printer requires frequent replacement or refills for relatively expensive ink cartridges. Laser printers require toner, cartridge refills, or replacements. That matrix requires additional ribbons or replacement of ribbons. Then, when shopping for a printer, you can check online resources to determine how often you'll need to replace printer supplies and how much they are likely to cost. To cost. The duplex capability. A duplex printer can print on both sides of the paper. And this environmentally friendly option saves paper but can slow down the print process, especially on inkjet printers that pause to let the ink dry before printing the second side. Another feature is the memory. A computer sends data to a printout to the printer along with a set of instructions on how to print that data. Printer command language, or the PCL, is the most widely used language for communication between computers and printers. But PostScript is an alternative printer language that many publishing professionals prefer. Data that arrives at a printer along with its printer language instructions requires memory. And laser printers do not start printing until all the data for a page is received. But you can add memory to most laser printers if necessary for your print jobs. And a nice feature which is networkability. A network-enabled printer can connect directly to a computer network rather than to a single computer. A network connection can be wired or wireless. The advantage of a network-ready printer is that it can be placed in a location convenient for all the network users. And network-enabled printers are essential for printing from handheld devices that can be connected to a printer by cable. For example, to print from an iPad or iPhone, you can use an AirPrint compatible printer that's part of your home Wi-Fi network. Now, should I recycle or refill? Ink and toner cartridges are expensive, and you can save from money by refilling them by yourself or taking them to an ink refilling station at a local office store. Remanufactured and discount printer supplies are available online too. Before you try one of these options, you can just read the instructions and warranty of your printer. Inexpensive printer supplies don't always get stellar ratings from consumers. If cartridge and toner refills are not available, find out how to responsibly recycle them. Now, when you install a peripheral device, you are basically creating a connection for data to flow between the device and the computer. Within a computer, data travels from one component to another over circuits called data bus. And one part of data bus, referred to as the local bus or internal bus, runs between RAM and the microprocessor. The segment of the data bus to which peripheral devices connect is called the expansion bus or the external bus. As data moves along the expansion bus, it can travel through expansion slots, expansion cards, ports, and cables. The expansion slot is a long narrow socket on the system board into which you can plug an expansion card. And the expansion card is a small circuit board that gives a computer the capability to control storage device, an input device, or an output device. Expansion cards are also called expansion boards, controller cards, or adapters. And expansion slots can be used for installing high-end graphics cards in desktop computers, configured for gaming, desktop publishing, and graphics applications, as what you can see in this figure. This figure shows how to plug an expansion card to an expansion slot. An expansion card simply slides into an expansion slot. Before you install an expansion card, be sure to unplug the computer and ground yourself. That's technically jargon for releasing static electricity by using a special grounding wristband or by touching both hands to a metal object. Now, what's an expansion port? So, it's any connector that passes data into and out of a computer or peripheral device. It is smaller to an electrical outlet because you can plug things in to make a connection. And expansion ports are usually incorporated in the system board. And computer system units are designed with openings that make these ports accessible from outside the case. Now, the built-in ports supplied with today's desktop and laptop computers usually include graphics port for connecting display devices, an Ethernet port for connecting to a wired network, the eSATA and Wi-Fi ports for high-speed external data storage, audio ports for microphone and speakers, USB ports for connecting a mouse, keyboard, printer, and other peripheral device. When this system board is installed in a computer, the expansion ports will be accessible from outside the system unit. At one time, installing computer peripherals required a screwdriver and extensive knowledge of ports, slots, boards, and various electronic gizmos. Today's most peripheral devices connect to an external USB or the Universal Series Bus port located at the front, sides, or back of the computer system unit. Many kinds of peripheral devices, including the mice, scanners, and joysticks, are available with USB connections. Transmitters for wireless devices, such as wireless mice, also plug into USB slots. Several types of storage devices, such as USB flash drives and external hard disk drives, use USB connections too. You can easily add USB ports to your computer by using an inexpensive USB hub. That is contains several auxiliary USB ports. The hub plugs into one of the computer's USB ports, and you can then insert multiple USB devices into the ports supplied by the hub. There is a self-power hub, which requires power from an external power supply such as a wall outlet. But the bus power hubs, sometimes called the unpower hubs, draw their power from the computer. And a bus power USB hub can be used for low power devices such as card readers and mice. Now, we have the firewire ports, also called the IEEE 1394 ports, are used for external storage devices and for transferring data from digital video cameras to a computer. The eSATA is a high-speed port used for connecting external storage devices. The Thunderbolt is a high-speed port for connecting display or storage devices. The VGA, or the video graphics array, the DVI, or the visual interface, and the HDMI, or the high definition multimedia interface ports, are designed for audiovisual devices. They are primarily used for connecting a monitor to a desktop computer and for connecting an external monitor to a laptop computer. And we have the variety of ports available for connecting an external monitor to a desktop or laptop computer. Now, when you connect or disconnect a peripheral device while the computer is operating, you are hot plugging. This is a practice that's allowed with USB and FireWire devices. Before you unplug a device such as USB flash drive, however, your computer might require notification. In Windows, you can give notification using the safely remove hardware icon in the notification area of the taskbar. And with a Mac, hold down the control key and click the device icon and then select eject. Some devices require software to establish communication with your computer. And the directions supplied with your peripheral device include instructions on how to install the software. Typically, you use the installation CD one time to get everything set up, and then you can put the CD away in the safe place. And you will learn more about the software called a device driver, say, which will be tackled in the next chapter or the next module.